Tonight I brought with me, we have an acting detective for the Clairemont area, which is Angela Bull. And then you may be emailing and talking to Holly DeFoya. She's our community liaison officer. So I know some of you guys have been in contact with her for problems within your neighborhood. Just a couple updates for the command itself. We just recently got a new captain. So Captain Hara, if those of you that knew Jerry, he has moved on and he is actually now our operational support captain. So he oversees the SWAT unit, K9, and then our operational support unit itself, which is all the testing of equipment. Our new captain is Captain Mark Hatton. Unfortunately, he had a conflicting commitment already because they just swapped places this Saturday. So he had a prior engagement, so he could not be here tonight. So he sends his regards, and he should be here next month to introduce himself and give his background on the department. He's got a very extensive background. Been on our full-time SWAT team. He was the acting captain down in the Southern Division before he came up to us at Northern. He was a lieutenant at Able Air Support. So he has a big background, but I'll let him introduce himself. Some of the changes here at Northern 2 is we're going into shift change coming out at the beginning of May. That's when we staff our full-time day beach team and our night beach team. So as the crowds are getting busier down at Pacific Beach, La Jolla, down at the beaches themselves, we staff and pull in additional officers from other commands. So that won't start till the beginning of May, which unfortunately for us right now, we have the weather of summertime. So if you've been down the beaches the last few weekends, you would think it's just a normal summer day because the crowd size has been so large. So we're trying to play catch up on that so that we can get staffed adequately. We are making the commitment. We're going to have, right now we have 2 full-time quality of life team members, officers that work in the morning that address our transient homeless issues throughout the whole division of Northern. We're going to increase that to 3 officers coming up at shift change, so that'll give us more flexibility on things that they can address. I know we received a lot of complaints regarding a female transient out of Nobel Recreation Center. You know, they go through the whole division, and any complaints they get, they target those addresses. They were able to find the female in question. She did have a felony warrant, so she was placed under arrest for her warrant. They also tried to provide services for the transient or homeless people, to try to give them a place to stay. So besides the enforcement aspect of it, they also try to give them all the resources that they can to try to find them some place to stay, shelter, food, or any kind of job opportunities. So it's kind of quasi, they do both, the enforcement aspect of stuff and then also the helping hand aspect. And I don't want to take up a bunch of time, so I'll let Angela, who's our acting detective out in the Clairemont area, just update you on a couple of cases she's working on.
Hi, good evening. I know that Holly spoke about a burglary series that we have going on within Northern Division, in which male represents himself as a city worker. He will even say he's from the water department, pest control, any sort of city department. And he will then encourage the resident to go in the backyard with them and expect something. While he's doing that, another person will come inside and burglarize the residence. They generally take money, jewelry, small items, and they tend to target people who are elderly, disabled, or don't speak English as a first language. We've had a total so far of 5 confirmed cases since February 26th, and we still keep getting reports of people representing themselves in this manner. Fortunately, we've been able to go to a lot of neighborhoods and warn people that this is happening. So if you have neighbors, relatives, anybody who lives in the area and fits that description, maybe lives alone, is maybe a little bit too trusting of people sometimes, please let them know that this is happening and let them know to call us right away, and don't let them in the backyard or anything like that. Likewise, the suspect so far appears to be driving a white GMC Denali. It's a really nice looking car. If you see anybody in your neighborhood driving a vehicle like that who is going door to door, asking a lot of unusual questions, please give us a call in that regard as well. And that's it. For now, does anyone have any questions about that? Okay, thank you.
San Diego Fire Rescue, you guys are next, coming up. Hello, my name is Kai Shikaguchi. I'm the battalion chief for Battalion 3, which serves in Clairemont. So that's 3 that serves Clairemont, actually. The crew here is from Engine 27. This is your engine company that serves Clairemont as well. For the month of March in Clairemont, we actually had a couple residential house fires that Engine 27 responded to. Both of them were contained to basically one room, pretty much as a direct result of Engine 27 being there first and doing a good job of aggressive firefighting. The second fire that we had, actually, they were on the road on Clairemont, was it Clairemont Drive? Clairemont Drive, and they saw smoke, and before they were even dispatched, they headed over that direction. And it was a good thing because just as it was getting dispatched, they were already pulling up. It was an apartment fire. They limited it to 1 unit, and they would have responded back from quarters to probably 3 minutes before they got there, and it could have been a lot. Luckily, no one was injured in any of the fires. They were all accidentally started electrical, I think they determined. So that's really what's happened so far this last month on C Division in Clairemont. This man right here, Mike Hughes, the captain now on C Division. So you probably will see him around quite a bit. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns for the fire department?
Fellas, thank you for coming out. There's an update. Appreciate it.
Okay, moving forward, there should be a copy of the minutes on the table. If we don't have any other corrections to the minutes from last month's meeting, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from March 5th?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. All right, Steve motions. Can I get a second?
Okay, what we did is we've been going through the bylaws and trying to clean up different things and make them read better and be closer to what we're actually doing. So what we did is we took the standing committee section and we redid that. You can see there's a full page of it in the back of the room over there with Jan. So if anybody wants to see all the verbiage, it's over there, and it will also be put up online. So I just wanted to briefly tell you what was in the changes. Each committee shall consist of at least 1 board member, the CTC president, and any interested CTC members in good standing. That 4th bullet point down there at the bottom is important. You guys are all welcome to come to any of the committees and join our committees, so we wanted to make sure that everybody knew that. And that was really important to us. So if there's anything, just contact one of us, contact one of the chairs, and they'll be happy to put you on there. The committees that we are proposing are these: audit, budget, bylaws, communications, elections, garden tour, membership, public safety awareness, and sponsorship and grants. The approval process, what we're going to do, we're going to give it, there's going to be an ability for all of the members to review. Like I said, it's going to be online, and there's also a hard copy back there next to Jan. The proposed changes will be made available on our website, and at the next general meeting, all of you will vote on whether or not to accept the changes. If you have any questions or comments, you can email me or anybody else up here, and we're happy to talk to you about them.
Any questions or input on the changes that we're going to be making to the committees? Okay. Moving forward, the next one is code of conduct, which I'm going to go over that too. Go ahead. For the code of conduct, we did the first reading last month.
That we expanded it to where people can go ahead and run for office. Is that correct? That we expanded it so that board members here can run for office while they're on the board, but they can't use any kind of resources of the Clairemont Town Council in order to campaign. So they can't use the mailing list, they can't come in here wearing their t-shirt, things like that. They're not to take the time or the energy or the money or anything else of this group and use it to promote their campaign for an election.
So even when you say running for office, you're talking about running for a public office within the locality here, San Diego, whatever.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions or comments on this?
Originally, the bylaws said that anyone running for office had to resign from the board. We thought that that was too strict, and so we modified them to say that you could stay on the board, still run for a public office, but you couldn't use your position on the board to enhance your campaign. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, we didn't want to lose good members just because they had an interest in maybe running for a public office. And I'm probably talking too much here, but I just wanted to try to clarify why we addressed this issue.
Well, there was one other point that was made also, which is if that person does get elected, they're no longer going to be on the board.
Correct.
All right. So, can I get a motion to update our code of conduct on that bylaw?
I motion. And I second it.
Okay. Richard motions and Jack seconds. Any other discussion, questions, or comments on this? All right. All those in favor of updating our code of conduct, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? All right. That is changed. The next one is updating the director districts. This is all, again, from the slide from last month. So I don't know if you can see that clearly. You can zoom in on it though. So the one here on the left is what the current districts are. We wanted to more adopt the map that was from the 2011 San Diego Police Beat map to include Bay Ho, Bay Park, North Clairemont, Clairemont Mesa West, and Clairemont Mesa East based on this middle version. And the one that we proposed at the meeting last month is the one over here on the right. I think I've got, so this is what they currently look like. This is the San Diego Police Beat map. And then this is what we were going to adopt them as. So any input or questions are on this? Yes.
Is a more clear version on the web?
Yes. Because the way that the map is drawn, it's on Google Maps. So you can easily just zoom in to see specifically what streets or whatever are in any of the other areas.
Far west, Bay Ho is hardly changed. The north section is changed.
Right, okay. So going back on this a little bit, if you look right here on the current one, so the north area, let's start with that one. It includes basically anything Clairemont Mesa north of 52, including Jutland north of 52. And Clairemont Mesa, correct. And so the north is what we're proposing is what this is. And again, the other interesting thing about this is that the way that the map is drawn that we're proposing, it also goes by the council district divisions between District 2 and District 6. The way that it currently is, some of the districts are all over the place. So this one just makes a little bit more sense.
So this matches both the districts and the police department.
Yes,
Good job, Ryan.
I do what I can. Any other questions or comments on this? Okay, can I get a motion to revise our director districts to what is proposed? Sure. And that's Carrie, right?
Yep.
Okay, Carrie makes a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second from
Rick Richard.
Rick Richard. Okay. Any other discussion on this? All those in favor of approving the proposed director district map, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, so that's fixed as well. The next thing on our agenda is we interviewed one candidate, John Coutre, for Director at Large CD. So, John, if you want to come up and introduce yourself. Jack, I don't think you're here. He was in the group.
Hi, everybody. My name is John Coutre, and I've been a Clairemont resident for a couple of years now. I've been to a handful of these meetings. It's going to be really interesting, and I'm looking forward to helping out in any way I can. I think the garden tour is great, and a bunch of other things that I think that the group's involved with. And I'm just happy to be a part. So, thanks very much.
What line of work are you in?
I'm a production electrician and lighting designer. So, actually, as I just bring it up, I'm hoping I can take some of that skill and help you guys out with maybe some of the meeting processes and this kind of stuff.
I was looking for a plumber.
Well, we have one more opening, so you don't know.
Well, thanks.
Awesome. Any questions for John?
Actually, he could be very helpful for us as one of our fundraisers, and as treasurer, I get to talk about this, is Movies in the Park, and where we had one last year and it was quite successful. We're going to have 3 this year during the summer, either at North Clairemont or at Cadman Park. And John, I think maybe your experience and expertise will help us manage that process.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Great.
So if there aren't any other questions, can I get a motion to appoint John into our Director-at-Large CP position? Rick moves.
I'll second it.
And Joe seconds. Any other discussion or question, comments? All those in favor of appointing John onto the board as Director-at-Large in CD, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? All right, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
On the board. All right. And then you can sit up here as well if there's an open seat.
Come say hi to everybody.
Awesome. Okay, moving on to board and committee reports. So my report, garden tour, is coming along fantastic, and I think Kylie is going to expand on that a little bit more when she gets over to her report. But last month we had a presentation from Kath Rogers on the climate action plan that's being proposed. According to our bylaws, we're looking for a speaker that can give the counterclaim or the counterpoints to it before we bring that up for an endorsement. So I know in some of the papers and in some of the presence letters and everything, I was saying we may do that, but we want to find a speaker that can go against that before we make a recommendation one way or the other on endorsing or endorsing against the climate action plan. Other than that, like I said, we've got one more opening on our board. It's for a Director-at-Large position. And it doesn't matter where in Clairemont you live, as long as you're a CTC member. If you're interested in being on the board, again, send us an email, board@clairemontonline.com, and we'll interview you at our next board meeting, April 30th. Outside of that, that's really all I've got for my report. Richard, do you have anything? For board reports? No. Okay. Ian, do you have anything? Okay. Jack? No, you.
I don't think I need a microphone, but I hope you picked up a copy of the report. What I wanted to show you was the actual income statement for 2014 that Mike Brown put together, and Mike's sitting in the back of the room here. And he was the treasurer last year. He put together the budget that's in the middle, and I wanted to show you actual income statement to date through 31 March. And what you see is that we need more dues, and we're doing fine with fundraisers. Picked up a couple more tonight for the garden tour. The insurance is an annual payment, so that won't change, as is the post office box. The webmaster is a quarterly payment, so it'll come in right at budget at $1,000. The website is a semi-annual payment, so it might be a little bit higher than budget. But overall, we look pretty good, I think. I wanted to show you a balance sheet at the bottom of the page. At the end of December, it was $13,205, and right now, at the end of March, it's $13,125. We're kind of staying on course within our plan, and I'd entertain any questions anyone might have of this. I've been doing this treasurer stuff for a long time. This is only my 4th month here, but I've been doing it for other locations, and I thought this is probably the best way to kind of show it. No questions? Okay, thank you.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Jack. Okay.
We have 45 members paid right now. We only picked up 4 this past month, which was kind of slow, because we're still at the beginning of the year. I have a whole big stack of people's cards of those 45 members. Nobody seems to be picking them up. So if you're here tonight, you paid your dues, and you don't have your card, see Jan over there, and get, if it's been paid within the last month or before that, the card should be in there. If you pay it tonight, of course, I won't have it till next meeting. At the last board meeting we had, which was last week, the board members voted on a deal which sounds pretty good. On the garden tour, anybody that buys a ticket to go to the garden tour, if you're not a member now, for $5, you can become a member for the remainder of the year. But you have to show your receipt for the garden tour. So that sounded like a good deal. I was kind of against it at first, but I think it's going to work out pretty good. Maybe we'll pick up some more members. Right now, that's about all I have. Thank you all.
Awesome, thanks, Joe. Or thanks, Rick. Joe, do you have anything?
Joe.
Well, maybe I should wait till we have our garden tour. I was going to show everybody a copy of the new banner.
Okay, well, let's go over to...
Wait till the garden tour?
Yeah,
Okay.
Lynn's not here, is she? Okay, that's right. So Kylie, yeah, so garden tour is up next.
Hi everyone, I'm Kylie Christie. I'm new to the board and I actually got elected and then missed 2 meetings in a row, so shame on me. I was out of town and then sick, so glad to see you all. I have been coming to the meetings for a while now, and being the rookie that I am, jumped right in to chair the biggest fundraiser of the year, the garden tour. Yay! So if you haven't attended the garden tour, it's actually the 19th annual, which is pretty impressive. It's a lot bigger than I even knew that it would be, so I'm having a good time, and there's a lot of us working really hard on it, and I just wanted to tell you guys about it so that if you haven't attended in the past, you can make sure that this is the first year that you do attend. You can switch it. So it's scheduled for Saturday, May 2nd from 10 to 4. And basically, you're going to be invited to tour over a dozen gardens in Clairemont, Bay Park, and Bayho neighborhoods. These are private gardens in people's homes. We also have exhibitors along the tour route that will be educating people on things like composting and rainwater harvesting, attracting birds and bees, solar. There'll also be things to kind of enhance the day, like there will be art on display, refreshments available. We even have a band that'll be performing during the lunch hours at one of our gardens. So it'll be a lot of fun, whether you love gardening or not. There will be plenty of fun for everybody. You can go ahead and change it. I've got previews here. These are our actual gardens, by the way. So if you have any interest in seeing the rest of this amazing garden as an example, these gardens really will blow you away. So you want to get your tickets, which let me tell you about how to do that. So the garden tour tickets are now on sale. Jan actually has some for sale at the entrance table here if you want to just pick your tickets up today. There are $15 for general tickets, $12 for seniors, get a discount, and kids 12 and under are free. The prices do go up the day before the tour, so if you wait till the very last minute and you buy on the day before or the day of, the tickets go up to $20 or $15 for seniors. You can purchase them online anytime at ClaremontOnline.com. There's a button right on the homepage to buy your garden tour tickets. Or you can pick them up at either of the UPS stores here in Clairemont. One's in Clairemont Square and the other is in the Balboa Mesa Shopping Center. Or at the Postal Connection store at the corner of Clairemont and Balboa. So there's 3 retail locations if you want to go in and pay cash, or if you want to buy them online with your credit card, that's easy as well. Next one. So in addition to buying your tickets and attending the garden tour, there's other things that you can do to help. First, we'd love to ask if everybody could tell your friends, people that you know in the neighborhood that are interested in gardening, if you could let them know about the tour. As Joe mentioned, we've got 12 banners going up in the neighborhood. We've got new banners and we've got 250 posters that'll be going up at different retail locations around Clairemont. So hopefully a lot of people will see it, but whether they see it or not, we want you to make sure that you tell a friend or anyone you know that might be interested. Additionally, this is a great volunteer opportunity. If you are interested in helping out with the town council and maybe meeting new people or just getting involved, you can volunteer to work a 3-hour shift at one of our gardens. And you'd be able to tour for the rest of the garden period, so the other 3 hours for free. You get a free ticket. So that's an option. And then we're still seeking refreshment sponsors for the day of the tour. So if you know any local restaurant owners or any places that you frequent, maybe you could mention that we are looking for refreshment sponsors for the garden tour, and in exchange we'll be promoting and advertising all of our sponsors. Next slide. I just wanted to thank, we actually have already received over $2,000 in pledges from our business sponsors, so we're really happy about that. And we expect to sell, the garden tour usually sells about 600 tickets. So if we do that again, it'll be a very profitable event. And like I said, I think it's pretty much assured to be fun for anyone that is remotely interested in gardening. It'll be a really fun day. Anybody have any questions?
Will the map be available?
The programs, because of the way we get the sponsors and the garden tours and arrange the exhibits, the programs aren't available until closer to the event. So the programs will be at the retail locations that we mentioned there closer to the time of the tour. So if you were to buy your ticket today, you would have to go in and pick up your program right before the event, so you'll see the map of the houses. We are also going to be putting it online and emailing it to everyone, so if you give us your email address, you can receive it via email. But there will be a hard copy reserved for you as part of your ticket purchase.
If you buy a ticket from Jan tonight, she'll ask you for your email address, and she'll list it, so we'll have it online. We'll have it to be able to send the program to you online.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Kylie. Good job.
Dr. Jen's out. Carrie, do you have anything?
Ryan?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
How about that? How about that?
So we had 19 years of garden tour. We had a variety of different banners, so we decided to scrap them all and get new ones.
Is Cindy here? Is Cindy from Cleach here? No, okay.
All right.
She's the one who was talking about the one that heals.
Okay. Carrie didn't have anything. Jesus is out. Oh, Steph, I completely actually skipped you. I think you go.
Thanks, Brian. As tonight's theme is taxes, safety, and awareness, half of the speakers tonight were invited by me, so I'm going to turn my whole public safety over to them. I'd like to thank SDPOA for showing up. Adriana Enlow, for those of you who are not familiar with who she is, she's our Clairemont Neighborhood Watch Coordinator, as well as ADT back there, Dan and Clay. SDPD, they were talking about imposters. So we on the CTC thought, as part of the Neighborhood Watch campaign in our movement, that we would partner with someone who's well-known in the industry, someone who's credible. So these gentlemen are in the back. They are supporting us, and we want to support them in our community, because when an ADT representative shows up, we want to make sure that you guys know that they've been vetted and that they're a preferred vendor of ours as far as home security. So they'll talk more about that as we go through tonight, but I just wanted to say thank you to all three of them as a group. So thank you.
Moving on to our elected official reports. Sarah from Scott's office.
Sarah.
Hi.
Hey.
Good evening, everyone. Sarah Zarnecki with the Office of Congressman Scott Peters. I have a couple fun updates. I don't know if you've been seeing on the news lately, but we've had several national visitors here in San Diego in the last couple weeks. Most recently, last week, the Secretary of Labor was here in San Diego and actually toured the Connections Housing Building that's facilitated by PATH, Partners Assisting the Homeless downtown, talking about how we can create programs that help homeless veterans find employment and find steady jobs so they can move into permanent supportive housing and move on with their lives and become part of society again, which is really, really wonderful. San Diego is very, very well known for what we're doing for homeless veterans throughout the country, and it's actually an initiative of the federal government to end chronic veterans homelessness by 2016. So it's something we're very committed to here, and we were happy to share with the Secretary of Labor.
And previous to that, we had the U.S. Trade Representative here in San Diego talking about how we can increase San Diego, opportunities for San Diego businesses to export what they're making to the rest of the world. We have a lot here in San Diego. They went to solar turbines down in downtown, and they also went to Ballast Point because in addition to being great locally made craft beer, they're actually one of our biggest craft beer exporters as well. So that probably was the more fun part of the tour. And we also just recently announced that the congressman was appointed as senior whip by Steny Hoyer, who is currently the minority whip. So that means that he's going to have a nice platform by which to discuss San Diego priorities and make sure that he's doing everything that we can for our community. We also introduced, I also have some flyers here. Again, the Congressional Art Competition, we're doing it again this year. The deadline for submissions is April 22nd. So if you know any talented high school students who live in the 52nd District or go to school in the 52nd District, we'd love to highlight their work. We're going to be offering a reception for all of our participants at the Athenaeum, which is the Music and Arts Library in La Jolla. So should be a really fun time, and we're looking to expand our program. Last year we had 37 applicants, and I'm hoping to get even more this year. So, and as always, I'm here to answer questions if anyone has them. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, Hillary from Marty Block's office. Okay. Chevelle Newell from Speaker Tony Atkins' office. Welcome.
Hi everyone, hello Town Council, nice to meet you. Again, my name is Chevelle, and a little bit about me. Again, I'm with Assembly Speaker Tony Atkins' office. I appreciate being here tonight. I've been with the office a little under a year now. I'm a UCSD grad, live here in San Diego. So yeah, it's great to be here. This is my first meeting here. I know you've been requesting our office. Just to clarify, Clairemont is Brian Mainshine's, Assembly Member Brian Mainshine's district, but a little part of Clairemont is in Assembly Speaker Tony Atkins' district. But it's awesome to be here tonight, and thank you for the welcome. I'm passing around our newsletter for March. And so that kind of gives you an idea of what we've been doing in the Capitol. I actually work in the San Diego district office. I'm not in the Capitol. I haven't gotten our physical newsletters for April yet, but if you are on our mailing list or anything like that, we do send those out electronically. So, and if you want to, you can go on our website, assembly.ca.gov/speaker. That way you'll be able to see this month's newsletter. But I thought, let me bring something so that you can see, you know, what we've been doing.
Okay, thank you, Ryan. I'm going to be brief tonight because I want to give some of my time to my favorite property tax collector, Dan McAllister. But my name is Julio D. Guzman. I'm from the City Attorney's Office, and I'm in the Criminal Division. And what do we do in the Criminal Division? We prosecute offenders of misdemeanor crimes and infractions. So we rolled out the community courts. I know I stated that last month. And the community courts, it's being successful, not as successful as we hope. So far, most of the offenders take our community court concept. In order for us to dismiss their misdemeanor crimes, they must complete 16 hours of community service, cleaning up the neighborhoods. So it's a win-win-win situation. Number one, they do not have a criminal record when they complete the program. Number two, we do not clog up the Superior Courts with these misdemeanor crimes. And number three, the neighborhood gets cleaned up. And so next month when I come back, I'll come back with statistics. So far, we're enjoying about 60 to 70% acceptance rate, which means 25 to 30%. They don't want to clean up the neighborhood, they'd rather go to jail. So we want a higher acceptance rate. So the more people that accept the program, the less criminal record the people will have. So I'm going to wait for Dan McAllister. Thank you, Ryan.
Awesome. All right, Ernie Navarro from Lori's office. I don't see him. Alan, you're here from Chris Hates' office.
Alan.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm Alan Young. I'm with Councilmember Chris Cade's office, and I have a couple of things to update everyone on. So the City Council actually recently just passed a lease revenue bond to address some of the deferred maintenance that we have in our city. We just passed a $120 million bond that will go towards some of our deferred infrastructure. About almost $50 million of that will go towards street and road repairs, which is something I know that a lot of people are very concerned about. And the good thing is that Clairemont actually has a lot of streets in the within the number of streets that these bonds are going to be paying for. So there's a list that the city is working on right now. It's not finalized, but within a month I will have a finalized list of all the streets that will be repaved under this new bond, and I'll make sure that we get a copy out to the next town council meeting when we have that available. So it's really it's very exciting that we're finally getting additional funding for a lot of the obviously very serious infrastructure needs that we have in our community. Just one other thing, our office is also participating on April 11th with the annual Tocolote Canyon Cleanup Day that's led by Mesa College. We're really excited to help volunteer and help out with that. If anybody, I know they're still looking for volunteers, so if anybody's interested in spending Saturday morning helping clean up the Tocolote Canyon, you can reach out to me offline and I'll give you more information about that. But other than that, like always, I am here to answer questions, and feel free to reach out to me for anything. So, anybody have any questions?
Hey, thanks for driving the renovate the paving of Genesee on the way to Linda Vista.
Yes, yeah, I know that's been an issue for a long time. So we're really happy to see that get done.
Thanks for charging that.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing, I know short-term rentals is also another big topic that's been going on right now. A reminder, on April 22nd, the issue is actually going through the Land Use Committee at City Council. On April 22nd, that's when the committee will be taking up the suggestions and the ideas that have been going around with in relation to coming up with a new short-term rental ordinance. I know a number of council members have proposals, including Councilmember Kate. Councilmember Gloria Zapp just has one out recently, as well as Councilmember Gloria. But that April 22nd is when the committee will be discussing and having a really robust conversation about what we can do to come up with an ordinance that works for everybody. So we're Councilmember and all of us are looking forward to that really robust conversation on the 22nd.
Yeah, I had a quick question too. Yeah. In relation to that, what about the condition of the house that's being rented? Whose responsibility is that actually belong to? The renter or the owner?
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, the condition of the house that's being rented, is that the renter's responsibility that they need to take care of it, or can that fall back to the owner that it's not being done there?
I can check on that, but from what I can understand about just basic responsibilities of upkeep for property, it would go on the property owner.
That's right.
Yeah.
The renter is inside the house, renter is outside the house.
Right. Awesome. Any other questions for Alan?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, thanks, buddy.
Cool deal. Just real quickly.
984,000 tax bills we issued last September. We expect to bring in, by the end of our second season of giving next week, about $5.1 billion this year, which is substantially up from last year. It's up for a number of reasons. It's not up necessarily because taxes are rising. It's up because of a lot of peripheral charges like school bonds and things of that sort that have ended up on the tax bill because that's the best way people have devised and divined to pay them. But remember, Prop Z at the school district a couple of years ago was $1 billion bond issue. And so now that they have started to release and issue those bonds, the payback is coming back in the shape of more money is owed on your tax bills. And that's everywhere within the San Diego Unified School District. There are 42 different public school districts in the county. Each one of them has bonding authority. Each one of them seems to be on their own timetable for issuing bonds. So this is not uncommon around the horn, as we say, around San Diego County, because it goes on all the time. What you don't have to deal with that a lot of other communities have to deal with are separate fire districts and water districts and things of that sort, which also end up on these tax bills. You're likely to have San Diego Community Colleges show up on your tax bill out here, San Diego Unified School District, and a few others. I don't think there are a lot of Melrose communities in this area particularly, but there are some in the city of San Diego when you get up around Rancho Bernardo and Penasquitos and some of those areas. I will tell you too that we have made great strides just in the last year and a half in our collection rates, and they have really soared, so much so that we think we're the best in the state now out of all 58 counties at 99.1% collection rate, which is the highest I've ever seen it, and it's the highest I'm told that we've ever had it. So I think it's a tribute to my team. We have a great team in place that's there to help you. I think I may have reflected last year. I think the number has increased, but we now speak 16 different languages to aid us in reaching out to people throughout the San Diego County region. I think if you go around in a quick tour of this county, you know that things are changing. There are 140,000 Chaldeans in El Cajon. There's a growing Russian population in La Mesa. There are numerous other ethnic and cultural groups in different parts of our city and county that all don't necessarily come to us on the same English-speaking timeline. And they need access to information about their properties and about their taxes. And we are hiring from the pool now, which means all of San Diego County. And that means it brings us opportunities to hire people that actually speak languages that we're not necessarily conversant in. So it's very positive, and it has helped us to educate, I think, new taxpayers in San Diego. We've learned through our interviews that an awful lot of people come here from countries where they don't know what a property tax is. I was definitely ashamed and saddened recently to learn that my own people, the Irish, just instituted property taxes within the last 3 years in Ireland. And I thought, my gosh, how have they missed this boat so long? And I thought they were so bright. It's amazing. So I'm rethinking. There's not much I can do about the heritage. You know, it's still there. But it's kind of interesting to see that they come to us and tell us they pay maybe a sales tax. Sadly, in some places they pay kind of an under-podium tax, but they don't pay a real estate tax on a regular basis. So when they come here, we have to let people know that this is a tradition in California. It's time-honored. All 58 counties work the same way. 1% of the gross purchase price of the house is what you pay, and it can't go up by any more than 2% of the 1% in any given year, which is, and maybe I said this last year, based, sadly, on an average of the cost of living index from San Francisco and Los Angeles. And those two are averaged together to form what's called the California cost of living index. And if that California index is up with those two jurisdictions averaged, then your taxes are likely to creep up at that 2% or the 1% level. It's only been down one time since Proposition 13 passed in 1978. So the chances are good that it will continue to move up. But it's really not that much, and it's just a little bit. So we're not greedy, but we do enforce the law, and we do enforce what we're told to enforce based on the revenue and tax code. The fees for late payments, as many of you have read and heard on TV and editorials in the UT, can be pretty onerous if people don't pay on time. Sadly, we have very little discretion if any, and the code is very strict and says if you're late, you pay a late fee. There are some extenuating circumstances from time to time. We've had people come to us who have made honest mistakes. Boris is one from La Mesa about 2 years ago. Boris was 85 years old and was making out his tax payment as well as paying his DMV fee, and he swapped the envelopes. So he sent them the tax payment, and he sent us his DMV fee. We quickly realized the mistake, and it was after the deadline, but because the intent was there and he tried to pay on time, we forgave that late fee. But it's few and far between that are forgiven, and the late fees mount up. Initially, it's a 10% fee, but after 6 months, it then on top of that forms at 1.5% per month or 18% per year on top of the 10%. So it can mount up pretty quickly. We just sold and we just had our annual tax sale last week, whereby we sold and put up for auction 182 properties throughout the county. Most were not developed properties. Most were raw land out in the middle of nowhere. It's easy to see why some people walk away from their tax obligation. If they inherit property they can't get into, they can't develop, they can't do anything with. And I know you've seen them out there in kind of northeastern Ramona with the giant rocks that are graffiti painted over. You can't get in, you can't get out, and if Uncle Harry left it to them, they would just as soon walk away from it as pay the taxes on it in perpetuity. So we understand that. There are others too, as a result of the downturn of the economy, that were unable to make their payments or do things, and sometimes these properties have ended up on sale. So we try to work with people. We give them ample notice. We have a team of investigators that actually goes out and meets with people and lets them know that we're there to offer up time payment plans in some cases if people are delinquent in one instance. And they get on a time payment plan and continue to pay those things down and pay their other taxes current, then we can work with them. But there are others too that seem to wait the 5 years that it takes to get to a property sale. We had one that got pulled a week before the sale. It was a $2 million house, an oceanfront house on Neptune Place in La Jolla. And why they waited 5 years to pay, I have no idea. But they came in a week before the sale and came up with $150,000 that they were in arrears with us on. And they paid it cash and they walked back with their house. So it didn't go on the market, but it would have been interesting had that house gone up for sale, I think. Because there were a lot of bidders. We had about 600 people show up at this year's auction down at the convention center. And if you've never seen it, I would commend it to you. It's action-packed. We have a real auctioneer that comes to town and does a great job for us in trying to get back your tax dollars that were unpaid by the people that refused to pay or didn't pay or couldn't pay over 5 years. I'd be happy to take any questions that you might have. Yes, sir.
Yes, speaking about errors, I thought there was a story about Legoland and they did their tax payment online and had some kind of a typo. How was that resolved?
Well, I don't think it is resolved because they decided to take it to court. They're suing us.
Oh.
Next question. No, I'm just teasing. Here's the deal. And I think this is interesting because it's a great case in point. Legoland's semi-annual tax payment is $920,000 for that property. It's almost $1 million, right? They decided this year that they would pay online as they did successfully last year. However, they got on before the deadline and they programmed in the wrong bank account numbers. Okay? So it went through, it said, thank you very much for the payment, and we'll move it on to the bank to clear, and then everything is feng shui, it's paid. Well, a week later, the bank came back to us, it was after the deadline, and they said, non-sufficient funds, there's no such account number. So what are we to do? They then came back and we told them that it was a $92,000 penalty, 10% of their payment, and they paid it under protest, but now they're suing us saying we had no right to assess that because they're good corporate citizens and they do a lot for the community. I don't know if you read some of the blog responses, that may be in question. One I thought was interesting when he said that if they charge $75 a day per adult and $50 per day per child, they probably won't have much of a hurt paying the $92,000 they owe. I don't mean to make light of it, but it is the law, and it's fair for everyone. And it's sort of like the electronic version of somebody who writes us a bad check, sends it in, and says, well, I paid you on time. And we say, yes, but it's a bad check. It bounced. They didn't pay us on time. They tried to pay with a bad check. So it's the electronic version of a bad check, and we have to enforce the law. Hope that helps. Another question?
Yeah, when you buy a property at a tax sale, you get a clean title on that.
You do, but within a period. It's probably about a month or 6 weeks afterwards, you'll get that title. The whole effort is designed to reimburse the county its back taxes, its penalties, its cost of the sale, and things of that sort. If there are excess fees, sadly and ironically, we don't get to keep them. They go back to the owner that in the first place didn't pay. Just the way it works. Other questions? Yes, sir.
I received an email from your office saying I have a tax due. And fortunately or unfortunately, my wife and I own 3 properties, and it didn't identify the property. And so I'm stuck. I don't know what property it is, and I don't know how
The good thing, sir, is that all property taxes are due at the same time. So this will alleviate any doubt that all 3 are due by the 10th.
Well, yeah, but I think at least one of them is paid by the mortgager. Okay, the mortgage. Okay, but then I'm not sure whether it's my wife's condo in La Jolla or my townhouse in Clairemont. How do I find out besides going to your office and asking someone to look it up?
Well, first of all, if you don't know which of the properties has the impound account, you can call the lender and ask them if they have an impound account for your properties, and they can tell you which one it is. And if it's the other 2, they're still both due on the 10th of April at the latest. And our office would be happy to give you the information if you just called and asked. What that is designed to do, by the way, is just remind people that taxes are due.
You're in the city administration building, aren't you?
No, we're in the county administration center
That's
down
the-
on the Pacific Highway side.
Pacific Highway, right?
Yes.
Between Pacific and
Yes.
Harbor Drive.
But if you just call our office.
Well, I can walk over to your office and
Okay.
beat your people up.
Yeah. They're nice people, so be nice to them.
Be nice to me too, I pay my taxes.
And we agree with that. But we try hard, sir, to help everybody, and if you just call. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am?
Yeah, I called today.
You called.
And I didn't have to wait too long. It was okay. I had a lunch hour.
Sure.
But we bought the house in 2013, so last year the mortgage people paid, we paid the supplement. It came out to, I was just seeing 32% more than what I'm going to pay this year. And the girl that you talked to, lovely person, is just regurgitating the same thing over and over again. Well, you've had a supplemental bill. Well, you know, and I know that. I paid. But I asked her, because I want to take it off on my income tax, how much property tax did I pay? And it was $1,600 more than I was supposed to pay. And you can't get a straight answer out of the person.
Well, I apologize for that, and I'm happy to give you my direct line at the office. You want that number?
Yes.
Tomorrow morning? Sir, you're walking, you can't call. But it's 619-531-5231. 5231. And, you know, I must tell you too.
531-5231.
Yes, ma'am. I must tell you also that supplemental bills are kind of a freak of nature. And unless the stars and the moon are aligned on the day that the property closes, so as to not dip over into one fiscal year or another, or a calendar year or another, sometimes you end up having paid too much or paid too little, and those things show up in the form of a supplemental bill. I'd be happy to get you extra copies if you want, so you know exactly how much you paid.
I had all the bills there. Well, then again, you know, she gave me a quote of how much I paid. Is Uncle Sam going to take my word for it that that's what she said I paid?
They do it all the time. Nobody has to submit their property tax payment receipt with an IRS filing that I know of, unless you get audited. and then you'll probably have to prove that you paid it.
Yeah.
But that's what a canceled check would be, or your bank would give you a back canceled check.
Well, see, my two bank statements that where I paid the two different on the telephone, one said tax treasurer, and the other one said San Diego County, and then it didn't show the rest of it.
It's all one family.
Yeah, but there were two different names. That's confusing.
Well, it is. Maybe you got a fraudulent bill.
Oh.
My name's not on it. It's not a tax bill. Because my name is on every tax bill that comes out of our office. By law.
Yeah, it was on
Just want you to
mine.
know that.
Yeah, your name was on it.
Yeah,
You know,
I
I
spell
have
it.
both the bills
Okay.
that I
All right. Anybody else? Any other questions?
I know you're not a politician.
Thank you.
But you getting any noise about the Prop 13 being abolished?
Well, the noise is that there's a lot of discussion in Sacramento. I think we can all attest to the fact that Sacramento has a voracious appetite for consuming money. And many times they overcommit and need more money to consume. And one of the discussion points is that there's a presidential election coming up in 2016. There's a suggestion that at some point somebody's going to try to put some sort of amendment on the ballot that would amend Prop 13, and how it works out is anybody's guess. One scenario is that they would lift the protections on commercial properties and keep the protections for residential properties. Another would be that they would lift the protections for residential properties and commercial properties and basically abolish Prop 13. I think both are pretty far-fetched because it will take a lot of votes to overturn something. But the thing to keep in mind is that when Prop 13 passed in 1978, our state had probably under 10 million people. Now we have, what, about 34 million in the Golden State? So all those new people don't understand why Prop 13 came into existence in the first place. And the reason, primarily, was that people on fixed income, seniors particularly in our state, were being bombarded with tax increases year after year after year, which almost forced many to sell their properties and left them without a property. And I think that that was kind of a revolt and a reaction to that which was happening that forced Prop 13 into the books.
It's transferable, I understand.
Well,
Is that incorrect?
No, you're correct in two counts. One, and this won't affect anybody here, but you have to be 55 or older, sir, so you probably won't make it yet. But there's a one-time cost basis transfer that you're able to use when you sell your property. You could buy something of lesser value. It was envisioned that people downsize as they grow into their middle earlies. And most people now want to escape their kids moving home, so that's another reason they seek to downsize. But nevertheless, you can buy something at the same or lesser value and still get the original cost basis from the house you sold. So if you bought the house for $100,000, you sold it for $500,000, you bought something for $400,000, you could pay taxes as if you paid $100,000. That's a good deal. That's the one instance of the two. The second one is what's called a parent-child exclusion, and if you should pass, your property in a trust can pass to your son or daughter only, parent-child, directly, and assume the same cost basis that you have. But you can't do it with a nephew, can't do it with a grandson, can't do it with somebody's second cousin removed, or 10 ex-wives ago and their child. It has to be directly related to you. Not surprisingly and sadly, women have a much more difficult time proving who they are because of name changes. When they marry, they very often will take another name, so they have to provide proof that they are who they say they are when they come forward to the assessor's office. So those are the two that I know. Anybody else? Thank you very much for the time.
Let's get into safety and awareness. Representatives from the San Diego Police Officers Association are up. They're going to talk about, one of San Diego's major initiatives with the body-worn cameras.
Good evening, my name is Jeff Jordan. I know some of you, Ryan's here, I know him, Steve Ramos. I'm the Vice President of San Diego Police Officers Association. I've been a police officer for 21 years. Joined Ed Laval. He is the program manager for our body-worn camera initiative. You said anything? Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Okay. I'll talk to you a few minutes about what's going on. I know you have an excellent lieutenant, Gina Williams. I've worked with her for a number of years. She's fabulous. I think that she'll be a chief one day. She's an amazing person, and lucky to have her here in Clairemont. But if you notice the two other officers with her look pretty young, it's because they are. A lot of people don't realize this. We've turned over 1,300 police officers in the city of San Diego in the last 10 years. That's 3,300 people. We only have 1,800. We used to have 2,100. Now we're down to 1,800. And 1,300 of them are gone. We've got about 600 or 700 people. The majority of our patrol people that you now have answering calls in your neighborhood probably have about 6 or 7 years on or less. And we're hiring upwards of about 200 officers a year. Part of the problem is our demographics are really bad. If you haven't realized this or don't follow this, we have about roughly 900 people eligible to retire in the next 4 to 5 years. So we are going to be turning over even more massively, hiring more massively. It's led to some problems. We've got to make the news in a lot of ways. Sometimes it's positive. Unfortunately, the last couple of years it's been pretty negative. I think what you have, though, from a commitment from your lieutenant, people that you joined with, the Officers Association, everybody out there, is we're a part of this community. We work very, very hard in here. I've worked at every single division, I think, in the city of San Diego during my time. I don't think there's a community I haven't worked in here, or can't remember. It's been a number of years since I've been up here, primarily down in City Heights, Mid-City Division, and now I'm in Human Resources, and I get to see a lot of the problems, the backgrounds, and recruiting firsthand. In addition to that, good news was we did sign a contract recently. It wasn't the most perfect contract, but it was a vast improvement over where we've been. And we desperately needed it to begin to kind of hire the kind of people that we need and hopefully retain them. We lose right now roughly 12 people a month, which is a little bit difficult for us. When you're talking about losing 144 people, and you say, well, you're hiring 200, unfortunately when you're 300 or so people down, that even means that our best day, it'll be 5 years of everything before we really get to where we want to be as far as full staff. And then we have a learning curve, obviously, where let's be honest, we're promoting a lot of people who are very, very young. And, we're promoting, I hate to say this, on potential in a lot of ways, and not necessarily experience, because we don't have a lot of that left right now. Ed and I are probably the only two people a lot of times you see on the department with gray hair. We don't have a lot of our people getting very, very young. It's frightening, we're seeing it. If they're good people, they're just inexperienced, and oftentimes there's a correlation between experience and decision making. So we're striving very hard to make this, again, America's finest. I'm sure Chief Durbin's probably been out and about, so I can tell you it's a tremendous commitment from everybody in the organization. Contract was the good news. The PERF report that came out, the DOJ review, kind of where it was, some of the issues in there, we didn't do such a good job in a lot of ways. So for a lot of issues that are out there, I think we come up in a lot of communities, whether you're in city government, organizations like this, the two issues that you often hear are transparency and accountability. And time again, those two words are so vitally important in city government. What we do, people know what we do, demonstrate to them what we do, because quite frankly, if you don't have trust in your police department, you really can't effectively provide public security. You just can't. If there's no integrity, if there's no trust, if relationships aren't there, we really don't have a functioning police department or a community that supports us. So one of the initiatives that's been taken out there that Ed's going to speak to you about tonight is body-worn cameras. We've been doing a lot of more outreach as far as communities explaining what they are. So citizens aren't necessarily surprised by seeing them because I think almost everybody will have the equipment them very shortly as far as patrol. But I'm going to turn this over to Ed to kind of talk to you about body-worn cameras, where we are as far as implementation, and what you can expect from them.
I'm not going to use the microphone because I need my hands to talk. I've got a little bit of Italian in me. A couple things that's kind of fun facts here is I used to work this area back in 97, 98, and when I came over here from the Highway Patrol, like Jeff, I've been doing this a while. I also was a Clairemont resident up on 2222 August Court. In 1970, we got here from Michigan. We were transplants at my grandmother's house. And I owned that house up until 2003. And I did find out about Mr. McAllister's information about Proposition 13 the hard way. I'm the grandson. So I sold that. It sold in one day because it's such a popular area. It's a beautiful area, but I couldn't get my East County wife to move out here. I thought, yeah, I'm 5 minutes from work. Yes, it didn't work. What I'm going to explain to you, these body cameras right here are demos. I just got them in the mail. They are not programmed. They're not set up to our system because we have 600 cameras that we've purchased so far per the contract, and all 600 are out. Right now, the 600 cameras are in northern, they're in mid-city, they're in southern, they're in southeastern, they're in western. Okay? And there's one more, southeast. So we have them in 6 places right now. 600 cameras. Does every officer at every station have a camera? A couple of the new guys that just came on don't because we're waiting for new ones. We're going to purchase the next 400 per the contract in August, August-ish. And my job has been to figure out the program, train everybody, and I've done every training class. And I just did 3 this morning. I came in at 3:30 today to do 2 classes, one from Grayberry for supervisors, because supervisors will now go through so they can check to make sure the officers are using these correctly. There's a concept, right? We do have accountability, we do want transparency, we want to do things right. So the officers were trained, the sergeants are all being trained now. And then I had 2 investigation classes because the detectives, when the evidence is created, they have to learn how to manage it and they have to be able to get it to prosecution and all that good stuff. So there's a lot of moving parts of body camera. So a couple things. The average body camera you're going to see is something like this. It's going to go on their chest. The way it operates is they'll simply go ahead and push this twice. It'll start recording. You can't see a light flashing. This camera does not do that. To shut it off, they hold it one time. When they have the video, when they're done, basically what they'll do is they're supposed to record on every enforcement action. If they're going to a call, they think that enforcement action is going to occur, they have to record. If they're going to do a traffic stop, they have to turn it on. If it's going to be just an FI, like we're going to talk to somebody we think maybe it's like someone we're looking for maybe, we don't know, we got to turn it on. We want it on. We want it on through the whole contact. We're not going to turn it off. If somebody says turn that off, they're not going to do that because we want the whole contact. We want the whole, as much as we can of that contact for both sides. It just basically, it's transparency. These things right here, what we've seen across the board when I started to go ahead and do the research on them, they said, find out about body cameras, tell me we can find out. So I started calling. No one in the nation as big as our department. We are the biggest department right now in the nation that has the size of body camera program we have. We're the first to do that on this scale. Okay? People call us daily asking me in the office, asking my lieutenant, my sergeant, my captain. They call up to the POA here. I'm also director with the POA as well. So kind of a unique, I think I'm the only union guy or association guy, we're an association, that's involved in the body camera program for a police department right now. Once the evidence goes into the system and say you need it for court, we can just send it electronically over. We're not burning a disc. We're not wasting money on several CDs that might get lost in the process. So we can do this electronically. What they're doing right now for court and traffic is they're playing it right from the system. So it's a cloud-based system where the stuff is stored. And we have a 5-year contract with the company we're with right now. And that's basically the body cameras in a nutshell. And I don't want to take a lot of your time. You might see these guys walking around. Okay, this looks really interesting, doesn't it? That's the body camera that mounts on the head there. And wherever I look, that's where I'm going to get the picture of. Some of these guys will wear them right here on their collars. There's a lot of wires and stuff. The new guys seem to like them a lot better, this model. Most of the people you'll see are going to be wearing the chest mount because it's one piece, easy peasy, push the button, done. Go ahead and put your metadata in. At the end of the shift, they turn it off, set it in a download machine, and they go home. Overnight, it's uploaded to the system. It's taken off the camera. The camera is charged and ready to go for the next shift. They don't take these home. These are only used on duty in the course of their duties. And they don't record, Jimmy's jump or up on the, the mountain like with this nice man here. He has a GoPro. Wish I had one of those. They're so cool. But you can't take these snowboarding and anything like that. So these are only for official use. And only the people that are going to be trained are going to be carrying them. Our goal is to outfit everybody in patrol. We are going to have 1,000 cameras. Right now, the gang suppression team is wearing them as well. I forgot to mention that of the other 6 divisions. So that's what we noticed too. There was a stat that was released. I don't know the numbers. It was in the 40%, I think, exactly, that the chief had said the complaints have come down. And that's something they're going to be looking at and monitoring. Across the board, when I've looked, the average of departments I've talked to over the past year, they've all seen decreases in complaints against officers and they've also seen decrease in violence against officers. And now this camera is not to protect officers, it's to protect everybody involved. And that's the goal of this, and the chief has been very vocal and very committed to that. So if you guys want to take a look at these things, I'm going to be here for a little bit. I'll show them to you, but other than that, we're not going to record any videos because we consider it evidence when we upload it. So, yes, you have a question?
I was curious about how the officers that are wearing them feel about this.
You know, when at first, guys that might have similar hair like me, who've been on for a day or two, it was 50-50. Some were like, I don't want it. Now, some guys, no matter what I do, whatever way I look, I get a complaint. So, you know, they like it because it shows both sides. Now, is this going to solve everything? I think what this is going to do is take the good officers that we have, the majority of the officers we have that we have now, I have faith are good officers. All right? It's going to make them better. It's going to go ahead and protect everybody involved. What it's also going to do is, as a bonus to this, we also get evidence. Like, I'll give you an example. I won't tell you specifics of the case, but we had someone the other day who said, hey, if that camera wasn't on when these guys were investigating this disturbance, we would have never got that spontaneous statements from that drug addict who told us the details on who to find the suspect and how to find him. And they found the guy.
Evidence.
And, oh yeah, it can be evidence, yes, and we kept that as evidence. But you know, for things like if I'm just talking to you about your property tax problem, you know, I've been there, I understand your pain. Anyway, don't film that. So, I didn't do that. Anyway, it's nothing, it's not going to stay in the system very long. And the reason we would keep it in the system for maybe a couple months is for a couple months the reason is if you don't like the way I talk to you and you want to complain, it's your right to do so. And we can go back and view the video. Jeff as a sergeant would then go and talk to you and say, hey, what's going on? And you would say, this has happened. And then he would come and see me, who maybe gave you a bad day, okay, and say, did something happen on here? No, it didn't happen. Call you back, you know, I got video, it didn't happen. Well, what's happening in the field right now is there are people out there that are raised differently than some, and I'm going to give you some examples, and nothing's ever their fault. We probably know who they are. I'm just giving you probably a real harsh example. But whatever happens, it's not their fault. They want to talk to a sergeant, they want to complain, and it's their right to do so. And we have people make things up, believe it or not. And what they do is they'll say, hey, this happened, and the sergeant will say, okay, so they go and they talk to the person who's complaining. And which is the way we do it. You talk to that person first. Don't go talk to your officer. You talk to them last. Because I want to find out really what's going on here and find out. So you go talk to them, you go talk to the officer, and let me see that body-worn camera footage you have right there. And they watch it. And they can watch it right from this Bluetooth device or whatever it is before it's uploaded to the system. You can watch it right then and there. Can't alter it in any way. Once it's recorded, you cannot alter it. We don't erase anything either. So he looks at it and he says, hey, that didn't happen. Calls the person back. Or maybe goes and sees me, you know, I got video of this. Oh, you do? You know, I just wanted you to know what happened. I don't want to do anything. And a lot of that's been happening. And what's been happening too, that we've seen over the years, for whatever circumstances, you might get someone in the gas lamp who gets drunk. And they might complain and make a false complaint, and then it goes to the city attorney. And a lot of times, I've seen this. I've heard mostly. I've seen it one time, but I've heard mostly that sometimes they pay people to go away. I don't know if that's been happening or not, but you know, I've heard it has. I think this is going to eliminate frivolous lawsuits, and it's going to go ahead and show the truth. And I think it happens. If an officer does something wrong, I don't want him on this department. I know Jeff doesn't want him on this department. We got enough problems as it is. We don't want them here. I'll tell you that right now. Yeah.
That looks like it'd be a good recruiting tool also.
Yeah. Some of the guys like it. The new guys love it. I mean, you know, and the new guys want the glasses. Hey, man. And I get it all the time. Hey, can I get Oakleys? They're Oakleys. Okay, these are the, I forgot what the flags.
Flak jackets.
Military flags.
Those are the flak jackets.
Flak jackets. Yeah, you recognize it, didn't you?
Yeah,
Here, check it out.
I sell a ton of them.
So you can see. So they want it. Yes.
A question also. If there's no little red light blinking, and you hit it twice, how do you know it's on?
I can hear it. It beeps too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, when you don't see the red light, but watch this. When I do turn this thing on, let me give you one that's I can turn it on, I just won't record it. All right, turn it on right there. You see the orange paint? That means it's in standby mode. You see the light in the back?
Oh.
The LED light right now, it should be red. It'll start blinking green when it's ready in standby mode. And basically, this thing will record for 30 seconds in loops. Okay, it won't capture anything until you touch record. And then it backs up 30 seconds, gets 30-second pre-buffer of just video only, and then from the time you touch the button, it'll have sound. You see how it's blinking green now? That means it's ready to go. It's in standby mode. And if I touch it right now twice, it'll beep once and then it'll start recording, flashing red. And I can see it back here, but you can't.
What's the capacity?
The capacity here is 10 hours solid, straight of recording. The reason that we went with this camera
It's like 1,000
is because it
gigs.
has the longest record time. All right, and it was the closest thing to being able to cover an officer's shift. We work 10-hour days.
Yeah.
Sometimes we work 12s, and sometimes longer, right, Jeff?
The video, how do you know if somebody's purposely not starting it?
Well, we can tell you that right now. I'll tell you that when, say, a complaint comes in, and then we say, hey, where's your video? Why didn't you turn it on? They are required to turn it on. Right now, we train the officers. We have a pretty strict training regimen. We have sergeants now that are checking to make sure that's being done. I don't know what, I can't tell you if there's a bail schedule for that officer didn't turn it on, because there's different things. I'm going to give you guys a stat right now that I found really staggering. They say that muscle memory, to be true muscle memory, you have to do something 10,000 times.
Yes.
Okay. I'm telling you right now, I probably blinked my eyes 10,000 times. I don't think I've turned that on 10,000 times. But I do tell these guys, how long did it take you when you were a brand new officer, and Jeff was an FTO, he'll relate to this as well. How long did it take you to learn to turn your radio on when you got out of the car? It took you one time when your FTO gigged you and wrote a bad write-up on you, or you missed a radio call and had to buy pizza for the lineup. But that's not enforced, it's kind of enforced amongst your peers. I had to buy pizza. So it was up here in Norman. It was on the beach. I couldn't hear because my radio was way down here until I got an earpiece. So I never had that problem again.
You buy for the entire division.
You buy for the entire division, and believe me, cops can eat. That's all I'm going to tell you. So, but it doesn't take you long to turn your radio on. So my argument to the guys that say, I forgot. You're stepping out of your car and you hit this thing twice. I just did it. How hard is that? So it's going to kind of be a balancing act, and I really can't tell you right now what the bail schedule is for not turning it on, whoever asked that question. Or, you know, maybe I'm going a little bit out on a limb on that question, I apologize, but I really can't tell you what the discipline's going to be, but I can tell you right now, if they forget once or twice maybe, but 99 times in a row, I think you asked that, 99 times in a row, that's a problem, and we're going to deal with it.
And I'll answer that question.
Yeah.
We're preparing these cases for court.
Yep.
And we're looking at everybody who's supposed to be in court, and then the detectives are pulling their videotape. And if we see 9 people on the scene and 8 people have video on and 1 person doesn't, and that's happening consistently, that person's going to have a problem, especially with the chief. So I can tell you right now, what would be into that person to do this consistently? Is it sometimes that we are having problems with some of our older folks? We are. I mean, we just are. Our younger folks who seem to be brought up, like my 7-year-old was calling me a doo-doo head on the phone over here. He's texting me, I'm not almost put in the bed yet. And he already knows at 7 how to get on the phone, find me, text me, and send me a message from maybe it was my wife yelling at me when she normally just says a different word than you do. But in any case, so some of those folks, you know, they're having some problems, some of the older folks. The younger ones who grew up with technology, they're not experiencing to the same degree some of the other stuff. But we know who's using it, we know who's not using it. And we're preparing so many cases so often that if we see a pattern, it's going to be dealt with. And it already is being dealt with, because the sergeants know too.
Yeah,
they're on the scene with these folks.
And just to help you out too, with maybe understanding is, we put them through a training program, but we're going to get retrained every year in officer training every 18 months or that we do. It's happening in the academy. One thing that I do right now, every 2 weeks, I send out lineup tips, because if I see them not doing something, then we got to remind them. You know, put the full incident number in right. Make sure you're recording it this. This is what happens when this trouble light comes on. Get it to me right away. I don't want an officer's camera who's not working, have them sit on it for 2 weeks and then bring it in and say, oh, it happened 2 weeks ago. Okay, you know, there are human beings and things do happen. Why am I bringing it up? Because maybe it happened. So every 2 weeks, payday Thursday, I sent one out today to the patrol. They all get in their lineup. It automatically goes to the lineup. The sergeant who's doing lineup can read it. And they'll say, tip of the day, your body camera tip of the day. And I send those out. So it's a constant thing. This is evolving. I had an idea this was going to be big, but I don't think our department really knew how big this was, because this not only is local here in San Diego. This is spread nationwide. We're getting people, New York's calling us, LA's calling us, little small departments are calling us. Can you send us? I had to do a 3-page fact sheet of where we're at in our process, so I don't have to fill out a survey that takes me 2 hours to do, and I send it off to them. And I keep track of that for our chief. And I think our chief's very proud of this program because we are the first to take it on like we've done it. And, you know, she's very vocal that this is going to be a transparent program. It's going to be something that we're going to be leaders in. We're going to do this right, and our department's going to be the best. And she's committed to doing that. I want to see it because, like I said, and Jeff will tell you too here, we're not just saying it because we're standing here. I mean, we're in an off time right now. We represent the Police Officers Association, but we also represent the department when we're talking about department stuff. And we don't want officers that are bad apples. We just don't want them. Because if someone does something in Maine and it hits the news, what do you guys do when you drive around? God, I wonder if that officer's like that. It's just what happens. You know, if the garbage guy goes and crashes into somebody, what are you going to do every time you see a garbage truck? Hey, I'm not driving near that. So, I mean, I hate to say that, but that's just the way it is. And I want to see it, man, because I'm telling you, it's a little bit different than when I first came on. You know, the kids are, excuse me one second. 20 years old, my 20-year-olds can sleep all day. I don't know how you can sleep. Go ahead.
I don't have time.
So I obviously you want to buy some more, but what's the process of trying to get them?
Well, we already have a contract, okay, and the next budget cycle that committed to buy the next 400 is in July in the new fiscal year. That's when our fiscal year starts. So we bought 300 the first year at the end, and then when the fiscal year hit, we bought another 300, so we got the 600 out. And we had to go slow because we didn't know how it was going to affect the infrastructure and do everything. We got all the bugs out, and it's working very well. And we're staying pretty much within budget there, which is good. Yes?
Maintenance-wise, all 600 of them are still working just fine?
Yes, sir. And if one has a bug, if we get a trouble light on it that has a firmware update or something, I can either take care of it in the office, or I send it back to the company, and they ship it out the same day they get it. So we haven't had too much downtime. I mean, we've had very good service, yes.
Does it record audio and video?
Yeah, audio and video when you touch the button, yes, sir. Depends. The body-worn camera is $399, and yeah, I'm not selling this thing. I'm just telling you. No, I'm not a salesman for these guys. And this one right here is $500. Yeah, the glass is $599, I think. Yeah, so the glass one is a little more expensive, more moving parts. I hear the next generation is going to be less parts. But they are guaranteed for 5 years, and they do switch them. Even if we break that portable cellular device, the Bluetooth device that we use with, it's not a cell phone, it's Bluetooth capability, they send us another one. So it's been very good warranty service. So the citizens are being taken care of as far as the integrity of the program. It's very well, very good.
How fragile?
How fragile are they? I mean, could you go ahead and do this? Yeah. You can. You can. I can drop the other one too. Yeah. And they also are water resistant. These are. The next ones are water proof. So they've already done that upgrade, which we'll get on the next ones. So any other questions? We know we took a long time.
Yeah, good luck. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
We'd like to.
Yeah, thanks for supporting the Police Officers Association.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We want to say thank you, everybody. Thank you a lot for coming in. We really appreciate it. So, and there'll be a lot of policy debates coming up that you probably want to talk to your legislative people who come here, because a lot of assembly bills are coming out, and we're going to be weighing in on them as we go along. And people don't realize this. We met with a lot of parties before we developed our program and our policies. We met with the ACLU and the NAACP and the RASA and everybody you can think of. And I think for the most part, we're about 90% of policies. Ed's a pretty humble guy. He's probably one of the most foremost experts in body-worn cameras in the nation right now, as far as operational stuff. But now really the battle that's going to be going on in the state, when we come back and talk another day, it's going to be policy, the votes, the different assembly people who want to be on the forefront of I did this and come back. But I can tell you right now, if we've looked at this, I would put our department policy and what we know about body-worn cameras against any agency in the United States. And I think we're going to have something to say about some of the different things that come up. It'd be an opportunity tonight. Brian Marble is on, our president. He wanted to be here. He's actually on TV right now being interviewed about AB 66, which is Shirley Butler's new bill coming out. I would say we're in support of Metrovit. unfortunately not all of it, and there's different issues that we should be aware of, i.e. when do we record, when do we don't record, different situations about victims' privacy rights and a lot of those things coming in there. Also, whether or not someone can review videotape before he writes a report. I mean, we're much in favor of that because we want the most accurate report possible because we're preparing cases for prosecution. Some people don't want that. There seems to be a raging debate going on in the community. So you may want to be monitoring some of these things and think about them. And if you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to us to come back and talk about that. And I'm sure some of these things are going to come up for a vote or bill passing within the next few months. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for allowing us to present an update with the construction work that's going on in the neighborhood. Ortiz Corporation has been selected by the City of San Diego to do the sewer and water replacement. You've probably experienced it, or at least you've seen it for the last couple of months. Phase 1 has been completed. That started out along the street here, as far as Caroque, La Junta, Holy, and Kickarillo, and Idlewild. So it starts at the north part, and so now we're moving into phase 2, and the water shutdown notices that went out for water shutdown yesterday and today for a couple of hours each day. And so construction will be starting Friday on phase 2, and that's the section, the streets Lacrosse, Hamlet from Hopi to Moraga, Geddes from Moraga to Huerfano, and Huerfano from Hamlet to Geddes. Then when that's completed, a few months down, phase 3 will then be going from with Papa, Inuit, Melissa Way, Keokuk, and part of Hickarilla. If this is Jose Ortiz, and Guy Green is project manager, senior project manager is Jose, and project manager Guy Green. And I'm helping with the community liaison in the area. So anytime when there's a problem or a question, or getting the letters to the residents out, that's when, we have some copies here. And these letters to the residents went out in November. And then as of the last couple of days, there's also on the back of here an example of the door hanger. Door hangers they are distributed 5 days before a water shutdown. So, and then instructions as far as what to do to prepare for the water shutdown, and then how to ease back in when the water comes on. So, any questions?
How long is the water shut down?
Yeah, typically, I mean, it just depends on the impact zone. Depends how far apart valves are, and I mean, we try to keep them under 6 hours.
6 hours?
Yes.
For example, with the 4 businesses that are on Moraga or the elementary school, they did that the first thing in the morning, say from 8 till 10, in order to, not impact the businesses. And of course, we were lucky. We moved the water shutdown with Cadman Elementary here so that the students would be affected. I was able to schedule it during their break time, their spring break time.
Good job for that.
So I know that there's also the effort to resurface a lot of the streets in San Diego. So is there a coordination so that when you're ripping out the streets to put the new sewer pipes in, that after that they come in and resurface?
As well as the curbs?
Yeah, the curb ramps.
The curb ramps?
Okay.
So that's all of the water, the replacement of the main lines, the water and sewer, that'll be done. And then when it's all done, then the surfacing will be done.
And then what about taking some of the cables or wiring that they have up above that they're going to move underneath the surface? Is that also coordinated?
Yeah, that's part of SDG&E's work. Yeah, we're only dealing with the water department and the City of San Diego wastewater department as it relates to sewer and water.
just seems like there's one group doing sewers, there's one group doing overlying wires, and there's one group doing repair of streets, and you just hope that everybody's
Well, typically,
coordinated.
they try to coordinate, but it just doesn't always pan out that way. And normally, water is driven by the amount of water breaks in the area.
Is this the only project currently going on, or is there concurrent projects around the city?
There's quite a few
There's
projects
quite a
going.
few, but just.
So you're just one group of
Yes.
civil?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, because last month we had a different speaker doing similar thing. There's going to be sewer water updates, I think, somewhere in Bay Park.
Right, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
along
and-
Marina.
yeah, along Marina. Because when you emailed me, I was
Right.
like, oh, you guys already came
I
last
said,
month.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So this is
We were
completely
here in
different.
November, before the project started to introduce the project. And so we're here tonight just as far as a follow-up and to see if there's any questions or concerns. But this will be going on for the next few months, for 6 to 8 months.
Excellent, thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
All righty, opportunity drawing time. What kind of prizes do we have tonight?
We have a gift from Happy Nails.
Happy Nails.
All right, done? Get a pedicure? Okay. We'll let John draw it.
Oh, all right.
John.
I'm mixing them really well. Can I read the number out loud? Cool. All right. All right. Check your tickets. 703673. Anyone? Anyone? Happy Nails,
Which color are you going to choose? Well, how about blue?
I like it. It's a $45 Oh, and if anybody wants any information on the taxes, I have information.
Any other ones?
Hey, Brian?
Yes.
I just wanted to remind about 2 different events coming up before our next meeting. The Taste of Marina is Wednesday, April 22nd, so if anybody's interested in attending that, the tickets sell out, or they sold out the past couple years pretty early, so try to get your tickets at Jerome's, Kohl's, or US Bank. They're $25. That's Wednesday, April 22nd. And then Fast Times 5K, Clairemont Day in the Bay is Saturday, April 18th. And that's a fun run and then a community day to support our neighborhood schools. So if you're interested in either, they both have websites, but you can reach out to us for connections if you need to.
Awesome. Any other prizes tonight, or?
That's it. I just want to say one thing. I say thanks again for having me and letting me be a part of all this stuff. I just wanted to reiterate one thing I said before in these meetings. It's great that Ortiz and companies like them are going around and paving a lot of streets here in San Diego. I know that the last election, potholes was a big, big problem, and everybody's all up in arms about it. We're starting to see some results. So I just want to recommend to everybody, if you go to sandiego.gov and go to the street division, you'll find there's a very easy form to fill out that has where the pothole is located, and it gives you a chance to put a small description in there about what the pothole looks like, how big it is, whether it's causing an actual problem. And I'd like to recommend that everybody who hears me tonight go and do this and recommend some of the big holes that are along the length of Clairemont Drive, especially going down the hill to the 5, because there's some massive potholes in there. So if you drive by, take a look at where they're located, go to sandiego.gov street division and put in a request. And believe it or not, it does work. So that's all I want to say. And thanks again for everything.
Awesome. Thank you, John.
Can I add to that? I've done that a few times, but I just get out my cell phone. I have their phone number, and I call them.
You can call them as well.
Maybe it's gone within a couple of days. They're really nice on the phone and say, okay, thank you.
Same thing goes for graffiti reporting. Put that number in your phone and record it when you see it, and it's gone within like 2 days.
Absolutely. Okay, coming up, meetings and events, like Kylie said, Fast Times 5K on April 18th. April 21st is the Clairemont Planning Board meeting here at 6:30 p.m. I think they're electing a new chair, so that'll be a very interesting meeting to attend. April 30th is our board of directors meeting, so if you're interested in being the last vacancy that we have on the board, if you're interested in that, come to our meeting on April 30th and we'll interview you. May 2nd, garden tour, get your tickets. They're available online, as Kylie said. And then our next CTC meeting is May 7th, right here, 6:30 p.m. Other than that, we're done. At 8:30. Just under